Hello, everyone. So today's topic is building and sustaining a workplace culture. Now, about culture, everybody knows from day one we are talking about it. But what's new? There's nothing new in this. It's just a reminder for all of us, like what is culture, how it is all about, and all. So, what is organizational culture? So, when we say about culture, a lot of people don't know what is culture, what it should be, or why we are talking about it. So, this is just an overview about what is organizational culture. So, it's actually a set of values, expectations, or the ideas that we are following, the practices that we have, and what actions we take based on it. Now, a lot of times when we tell somebody during the interviews and all that we have culture, they look at me blankly. They are like, "What is culture? What's so great about it?" When we say culture, people think about the regional culture that they have, like in their places, what kind of culture they have, what kind of things they have, or they relate it to the religious part. That's not the culture that we talk about. We are talking about the organizational beliefs which will help you all to grow and sustain in this organization. Now, there are positive as well as negative culture. Positive culture will enhance, it will make you grow, it will help you understand a lot of things and help you look at things positively. Whereas there is something called as negative culture also, wherein you don't like to work in that place. They call it culture, but it's not actually a negative culture also, it's a negative work environment. You cannot call something negative a culture. So when, especially when it's in the organization, for example, if somebody is screaming on top of your voices instead of explaining you, if they're just bullying you all the time, your suggestions are not taken into consideration, all these kind of negative things, they are not actually a culture, that's a negative trait of that organization. So this is something which has to change for every organization to be successful. So, can we build a culture overnight or in just one meeting? So, for example, like today we have this PDC, and I decide like we are going to change the culture. We will tell you everybody has to be passionate from tomorrow. Is it possible? Like we should have all these people, 53 people have joined today. From tomorrow, everybody should be passionate. That's a new culture. Is it possible? No. You cannot just come up with a slogan or something and call it a culture in one night or just one meeting, or like a group of people, suppose all the directors or all the um, board of directors, somebody comes together and say like, this is our culture, from tomorrow go, everybody has to follow. You can't do that. So for the same example, I'll repeat, like the passion. So can you make somebody passionate overnight? And is it sustainable to have everyone passionate? So for from all these people that we have, suppose, and we all want passionate people, everybody is passionate to do something. So I will be passionate to do HR, I will only be passionate to do recruitment, I will only hire people. But is there a requirement? No. But then I am supposed to be passionate, I am going to do recruitment irrespective of you all have the requirement or no, because that's my passion. And somebody wants to do coding only, day and night they will be doing coding without even thinking like whether that's right, wrong, whether the QA is done, or whether the client requires it or no. So you cannot just decide on one point and you cannot call it a culture. And it is not easy. A lot of time we feel like, okay, we'll have a meeting, we will decide this will be our culture and that is what we will do. We'll just google few points and that's our culture. You cannot. You cannot even copy somebody's culture. So if suppose you have been following some company, Google or something like that, they will be having certain culture, they will be having certain ideologies or beliefs. So can we copy that? No, we cannot, because that's not what we are believing as an organization, that's not our aim also. So you have to identify, you have to understand what it is, and you have to really think about it, whether this is sustainable in the long run. So SGI culture also, did it happen overnight? No. Somebody needs to mute. Okay. So SGI culture also, when we used to talk about culture, there was a lot of confusion in the beginning also. Like, what is culture? We had to actually have meetings. We had to undergo a lot of discussion. There were a lot of brainstorming which was happening to identify what are the culture points. Now whenever there are meetings, it's very easy. We have six culture points, these are our culture points, but they did not come overnight. They required a lot of brainstorming. They required our vision, mission to match with it. You cannot just say like, SGI culture is like we decided yesterday in one of the meetings that this is our SGI culture. No, it took a long time. It took a period. It cannot be like, it didn't even take 1 or 2 months as such. It took around years together to build and to sustain this culture. Also, right now also we are building the culture. It's not that we have set the points and the culture is set up and everything is done. No, we have to follow it. We have to see that the culture is followed, or we are doing the right things for it. Okay, so the characteristics of a successful organizational culture. So somebody wants to have culture set up in their organization also, or in their team itself, or in that whole work environment. If you want to have a successful culture, you need to follow certain characteristics. If you see on the right side, the image that we have already seen what are the points, what are the things that we will be looking into. But for all this also, we have certain things which we need to follow. For example, the alignment is very important. So if suppose everybody doesn't align on the same thing, then there is no point, like, you cannot take the culture forward. So for example, if nobody believes in teamwork, everybody believes that we are just going to do whatever we feel like. That's meaning I am being assigned a task, I don't care about the team, and I'll do this. So the team alignment is not there, the belief is not there. In that case, there will be a lot of trouble. If you don't align with the things, culture is going to break. So that is very important. When you all join on the first day, we tell you that you have to be culturally fit. What does culturally fit mean is like you try to merge into all these points. You try to be humble, you try to be like, helping other person. If you are not humble, if suppose you are breaking one of the culture, again you are not fit to be in that company, because you are actually not helping everybody grow. You are the one person who's actually affecting the entire company's culture. And definitely one person, one negative person can actually break a culture. Next is appreciation. You need to appreciate the culture which is there, as well as the people in your team. If you are just looking after your work, if you think like I'm going to do my best and I'm going to just outshine everybody and I'm going to just show that how good I am, without appreciating anybody's help, you cannot do everything on your own. Somebody must be helping you, but you don't even consider that. In that case, you are not going to help anybody. You will outshine, maybe like, you'll get performer of the month for 1 or 2 months. Everybody will be like, wow, great. But eventually things will start to frizzle. Everybody will start to see, oh, this person just thinks about himself or herself and not going to help anyone else. Next is trust. If you trust the people in your organization, that's how the culture is going to go forward. If you just put up the points over there and say like this is our culture, and you don't even trust anybody, you cannot say like, no, okay, fine, teamwork is there or not there. You are not putting in that trust. You're not showing that trust towards the client also, or the client is not having trust in you. This is also having impact on the entire organization. So you need to have this trust within yourself, within the team, uh, about the hierarchy also, and also with the clients. Your performance is one of the main things. If you do not perform up to the expectations, but you're culturally fit, you are very humble, you are doing everything right, but you're not performing, then what's the point? If you're not performing, what are you doing in the organization? You're just being nice to everybody, you're nice, you're just helping. If somebody wants tea, you're going and getting the tea for them, but you're not working, you're not doing the required thing. So that is also not going to help. Your teamwork has to be there, your whole integration has to be there. Everybody has to do something or the other to contribute to this culture. Now, when we say integrity, it refers to the loyalty, the trust, and the honesty that you show. You must have heard the saying, integrity is something that you do when nobody is watching. So that's the thing. Like if you are trying to show in the meeting that oh, you are so good, you are trying to help everybody, you give out big ideas, but behind the scene, like, once the meeting is over, if somebody approaches you, you're just going to say, no, I can't help you, I'm too busy, I have this project to do, that is there to do, I'm not I can't do this, or I don't understand. But then you are talking big things in the meeting. So this is also a negative kind of a trait. You should not be doing that. If you are going to help, if you are going to provide ideas, you should be ready to provide that kind of a help also, or that kind of support. You cannot say like, I, for example, I will say like, this website is not good, you should be doing this, you should be integrating this kind of Facebook and everything in that, and it should look so good to the client. And then some developer comes, okay, so can you just show me an example? No, I don't know, I just tried to help you all with that idea, now you take it forward. That is also not going to help, because must have seen something, but then if I'm not going to support that, I'm not going to help them like, no, see, this is what I saw, maybe you have to do it this way. I don't know the actual coding, but at least I can do my part. If I've bought this idea, I have to show you that this is what I am thinking of. Also, innovation, a daily basis innovation is not possible, but one innovation you have to support and you have to take it forward. That's very important. Innovations don't happen every day. So you cannot come every day and like, I have a new idea, let's go and work on that. That's not possible. You have to think from all sides and go ahead with that one. And the one of the last points is, among the some of these points is psychological safety. If you do not feel safe in the work environment, that's the biggest failure of the organization. Because if you are not feeling good enough to share the information, if you don't feel like, that it's safe, like, for example, there are some people who are talking about you, they are just saying things about you. Or for the ladies also, if they feel like, oh, I don't feel safe coming to this office, it's so scary about these people, the way they are talking, the way they are behaving. This kind of psychological safety, if you cannot provide, that is also going to impact the culture. There are a lot of points, but these are some of the basic points which have to be there to support your culture. Now, about the culture discussion, we talk about it from day one. Why? Because we want to show off? No. Because just because we have it? No. Because we want to integrate it right from day one, so that you understand, like, that what you learn on your first day, or what you understand, or what impresses you on the first day, it's going to last with you for a longer time. Even if suppose we try to show off that this is what we are doing and all those things, eventually you will come to know, oh, this is not what I was told about, or this is not what is being followed. So organizational culture which eventually develop with or without your input, like, but the absence of your participation may affect it. So suppose you understood the culture, this is our thing, but then you are not believing in it, you don't want to follow it, or you find that this is not something I want. So let it be, I will just go with the flow. But then again, the culture will develop, but then there will be some deformities in it. You will start developing some hatred, you will start developing some your own ideologies, and you'll try to get some other people to believe those things. Now again, you are developing another culture within our culture, which is not safe and which is going to be shown eventually, it's never hidden. So if you don't match up with the points, those things are going to show. So even if you are not participating in it, it will be very unproductive for us. Because if you are not being humble. Now, one, two times we will tell you, like, you have to be humble, you have to talk very nicely to everybody and all those things. You will just try to pretend, but eventually the real nature will come up. And then you will just try and get frustrated and all those things. Then your whole personality will be visible. So instead of pretending, if you don't like or if you don't believe, you should start looking out somewhere else. Because certain things, if they don't agree with your own beliefs also, though, that is not a right place for you. So if you feel like, that you should be shouting at every junior, or you should be treating some junior very badly, if that's your belief, or that's what you have in your head, this is not the right place for you. So you need to see, like, am I identifying with this culture points or no? Because lot of time I might not feel like, oh, this point is not what I feel, but oh, it's okay, it's there in the company, so I will just tag along, I'll just fool around, and whenever the point comes, I will just say yes, yes. No, you have to prove those points, you have to show actually that these are the points that you follow. So this comes to the next part, which is the role of leadership in the culture development. Now leadership, I don't refer to anybody who's holding a senior position. The leadership role can be taken up even by the junior most person. If you go to see, when we send out the feedback forms and all, we make them understand, like, that there is culture and you have to understand. So people do vote based on that. And there are some junior members who are really good, like, within a month you can see that connection, they can see the whole difference, or the right fit. Sometimes, like, when the team member joins in, or they talk during first meeting and all, you can actually understand, like, whether that person is faking it or just trying to impress someone, or they are actually following with that body language, with that happiness, with that tone of your speaking also. You can make out a lot of things. So when you are a role model, you don't have to take a flag and say, like, oh, I'm humble over here. People do come to know when you look up to that person. If you see, if you have a role model in the company already, you must be looking up to that person. Oh, I want to be like this person because this person is doing, following whatever he's saying. Another thing is, if you say something, if you promise certain things and you say, you cannot be a role model just by promising and not providing that thing. So what you promise, what you tell is also very important. You are setting up the whole image. Now suppose you have a senior manager, or if you have a TLPM, anybody who's there, like, if the manager tells you, oh, you're very good, I will give you promotion in the next review, and the next review you are forgotten. Like, you should not do that, saying that, oh, you are promoted, you're done, don't worry about everything. You should be actually following the whole thing. You should see whether that is what you're matching with it or not matching. You just say things, or you just promote just for the sake of your glorification. It's not going to give you a good image kind of thing, because eventually after that review they will say, like, no, I did not get what I was promised, or I did not get. There might be some points, like, there might be, maybe that person really tried for it. So if after trying something failed, in that case also you need to clarify, because if you don't clarify, then they will have misconceptions. So as a role model, you need to be very careful what you're speaking, what you're conveying, or what you are projecting to the entire organization, or that team, or that group of people that you're talking to. It might be even one person you are talking to, but you need to be very good with how you're projecting yourself. You need to have the connection with the team. Again, the leadership, what I'm talking here about, is about the individual, not the senior members, or not the people who are given this leader designation or anything like that. These are the day to day, everyday people, junior, senior, interns, anybody and everybody. So how you are projecting yourself is very important. If suppose I'm the HR and I'm just in this meeting, I will pretend to be very nice, but then when somebody comes, I'm like, I don't want to talk to you, just go and you sort your problems on your own. I look at yourself like that only. That's not right way of conveying, because I'm giving a presentation over here, and after the presentation I'm something else. So that's where I'm also breaking the culture. So you should actually, you have a right to ask that person. Then you said that being humble is this thing, so how come you are not following this? Because these questions will be coming up later on. Okay, so then you have to have those skills also, like skills which are helping in the team development. Sometimes a junior can also develop a team. That's by bonding. There were some junior members who came, who joined us. They made a team in the sense, not the working team, but a very good team of people who actually follow culture, of same beliefs, of the thing which we feel proud of. So these skills, sometimes it's god gifted, but some people can develop them. They develop them by observing the other people. So with this, you also can achieve some of your goals which are set for your organization, for your growth, success, and also your morale. So sometimes you feel like, there's okay, there are goals set up in the company, I don't want to follow them, I will just do some bare minimum for that, and just because I have to update the workboard, I will do it. No, you cannot do that, because you will have to follow, you will have to provide some inputs from your side, which will actually help the company grow. So if we have a 5 year goal, a year goal, or even 3 months goal, whatever is there, if you have to put in your best for that. Goals cannot be ignored. And goals also help in the culture development, because that's where one of our culture point comes into picture, which is like, growing yourself. Because through goals, you will also grow yourself. It's not like just because of the sake of having goals we are setting up. Those are set up by looking at the vision for a longer period of time. Sometimes you might not uh, identify with it or understand. In that case, you're supposed to ask the seniors or those who actually understand this thing. Now everybody don't understand every part of it also. All the seniors won't understand everything, but there will be somebody who's actually following, who's actually understanding this part. So maybe you can observe those people you have been following them as a mentor, and you can reach out to those people. It doesn't have to be your same pod or your same team member or something. You can go to somebody else. You can always mix up and ask certain things, follow them, admire them for their right things, not for the wrong things. Okay, so the final thoughts is culture eats change for breakfast. So you, with culture, you need to change yourself, and change is part of a culture. You cannot just say like, oh, they said this is a culture, I am sticking to this culture only. Tomorrow if they change any culture point, I'm not going to follow it. That cannot happen. You have to have that feature of changing as per needs. Sometimes, like, we expect certain things, we tell you to do something, you have to calm down at times, you have to be aggressive sometimes. Aggressive in the sense, you don't have to beat up somebody, but you, that aggression has to be visible in your work, like, that um how you are presenting the thing, how passionate you are about certain things. So when it's culture, you have to look around for the changes also. You cannot just say like, it's a something written with a stone or something like that, it cannot change. Culture can also change over the period of time. After you realize, like, now everything is settled up, we can add up some more things to the culture, or we can remove something from the culture because that is not the need of the hour. So then the changes do happen. So you have to be very flexible, you have to be very understanding, and you have to mold, you have to be ready to mold and change as per the requirements. Now if you feel like, this new culture what we have introduced is not right, you have a chance to go and speak. You can you don't have to object as such, but you can clarify. You can put your point saying that this is what I feel like, maybe like what culture points you all are thinking about, it's not followed, it's not, we are not going in that direction. Maybe you are not thinking in the right way, or maybe while discussing certain things we did not think. But you always have a chance, like, to show that you also care for the culture. The main thing is how you identify and how you care for other people. That's very important. Okay, so that was my short PDC.